shared your faith journey with your children over the years, what's been useful to remember and to keep in the forefront of your mind?
But I think one of the biggest lessons that we can share is that we have learned that we can't control them and we can't fix them. And sometimes you know, their faith sometimes can be a bit like this, the kids. You know, they get it, they don't get it, they've got questions. And actually you want to jump in there and go, oh, don't you understand? It's all like this. And actually it is that sense of letting them go on the journey. You know, I often preach on the Emmaus Road. I think it's one of the most beautiful examples of how to deal with people, that the day after Jesus' resurrection, you know, there's no big meeting, there's no feeding of the 5,000. He just walks with two heartbroken, disillusioned, frustrated, disappointed people. And he just lets them tell their story. And I often thought that he could have jumped in at any point and gone, guys, I'm Jesus, it's cool, we don't need to have this conversation. You know, just do this, it'll be okay. But he just listens to them. And then, instead of jumping in again, he starts telling a bigger story. He starts telling the story of God and the prophets and how, you know, and goes through the whole of the Old Testament almost. And then over a meal, which he wasn't going to stay for on the way, he was going to move on, and they had to persuade him to stay. Suddenly, you know, they got who he was. And I just think that sense of, let's not be the rescuer. I know every part of us wants to rescue and wants to help, especially when it comes to kids. But when it comes to our community as well, Jesus is the rescuer, you know, and we're the broken. I've often thought, I've been writing about this recently, the Good Samaritan. Whenever I saw that story, traditionally, I always saw myself as the Good Samaritan, the rescuer. I think now I sort of see myself more as the beggar on the road needing help. And I think we see that story through very Western eyes. And sometimes it's a bit of humility it takes to see things a little bit differently.
I'd say also, regardless of what our children have done or don't do, it's just that unconditional love, and always having that, do you know, we all make mistakes, we're not expecting you to be perfect, and just always being there. And that doesn't mean just being there physically, it means being there mentally, emotionally, in all matters of how you could be present with someone. And that's really difficult, because you always want to have that open communication, and as they get older it gets harder, and they don't want to let you down. And so it's always keeping that opportunity for them to be able to continually being honest with you, and so, but in the same way you have to be honest with them as well.